Okay, day 2 of the silly battery resurrection attempt. I've had this battery after my big discharge yesterday on this little pulse battery charger overnight. Really good battery charger. A great piece of kit, really. And I've had it off charge for about an hour or so, so you can see the voltage is settling down here. I think it'll settle down at 10.8, so that to me suggests we've got a perfectly charged battery here, but with one dead cell. So it's a 5-cell battery. In other words, it's a 10-volt battery, not a 12. There is no way the desulfator would be able to fix this. So is this battery a gone, or is it a dead weight? Let's connect the load, this 50-watt halogen light. Oh, it's quite bright. Clamp meter time. We're pulling 3.4 odd amps. The voltage is actually holding relatively steady. It hasn't like dropped to the floor. Here we go. Here we go. Because yesterday when I done this, after this thing had been constantly connected to the desulfator and a solar panel, when I first connected the bulb, the voltage plunged to about 0.6 volts, and after quite some time it built back up again to ultimately 9.7 before it started falling. But today we're not going to have any of that malarkey, because whatever was blocked in there has now been blown out. So I'll let this run for a while, probably down to what would be the equivalent of a 12-volt battery dropping to 12 volts under load. I'll have to go away and calculate that, and then I'll put it on charge again. Cycling batteries a bit definitely restores their capacity. Well, it helps, but it'll never ever repair a damaged cell. But nevertheless, this battery I feel is more than just ready for the scrap heap, or to be used as a weight, or to be used as a trade-in, or even to be farmed out as a low current source that would go on forever, to say run a meter that has to have an isolated supply, which I've done with batteries before. It needs really to be, used within its capabilities. I mean, look at that. I mean, 3 amps, 10 volts, and that's about 30 watts. And if it can supply that for a while, we should find some use for it. Okay, 1 hour into the discharge, as by my old ancient cell phone, which is now disconnected, which I just use as a calculator and stopwatch or countdown timer. 1 hour in, plus 3 minutes before I went and got the phone. And we've still got 10.1 volts, we've still got a nice bright light. And we've still got 3.4 odd amps of discharge, so this is going pretty well, this battery, really. Okay, well, as you can see, the voltage is at 10 volts now, and the time, you can see that on the camera, 2 hours 19 minutes, so plus the extra 3 minutes is 2 hours 22 minutes odd. I'm going to keep this going until that drops to 9.9, then I'm going to terminate it. I don't want to hammer this too hard. Or maybe I should, I'm not sure actually. And here's the next installment. The voltage has dropped to 9.8 and we've been running for about 3 hours and 40 minutes now. So not bad really. Still got 3.3 sometimes, going down to 3.2 amps of discharge. There's one thing to bear in mind, of course, is a bulb is sort of like a constant current source in the sense that as the voltage drops, the filament will cool down and attempt to pull more amps to maintain the wattage. Won't do that perfectly, but a normal resistor wouldn't do that. But in many ways, this is even better for running a test or a drain such as this. I'm going to drain it to about 9.6, I reckon. I've decided 9.57 is what I calculated would be the 10 volt battery equivalent of 11.5 on a 12 volt battery. Because I always think of everything in terms of 12 volt batteries, even when I'm dealing with a 24 volt circuit like these ones over here, you know. So when the batteries are at 26 volts, I'm always thinking that's 2 lots of 13, you know. I always think in terms of 12 volt batteries. I don't really think in terms of volts per cell, although it might be easier. But yeah, 9.6 is about the equivalent of discharging a 12 volt battery to 11.5. I'm treating this basically as a nominal 10 volt battery. So I'll let it drop to that voltage, or I'll terminate it depending on which happens first, because I've got to go out, you see, so I'll stop it before I go out, obviously. If it hasn't reached 9.6, too bad. Okay, this is my final video of the day dealing with this Seamaster Gold Marine battery, the resurrection of this battery. And I disconnected this before I headed out late this afternoon, and the voltmeter was reading 9.7 volts. It was running with the bulb for a good 4.5 hours, and after sitting for a number of hours it's now creeped up to 10.2. So I think I'm going to put the battery charger on it overnight and basically run it for 4.5 hours tomorrow before I have to go out again, and see if it performs just as well or better. I was pretty happy with the performance. I mean, I got 4.5 hours and only dipped to 9.7, and it was pulling, what was it, over 3 amps the whole time. Right, might need 2 hands for this. No, there we go. Charger is just energized now. Green light's on. It's a pulse charger. It charges with pulses. You can actually see it in that light. As you can see, the voltage is starting to jump up now. It'll go up and down a wee bit because, as I say, it's a pulse charger. So that ends part 2 and day 2 basically of the battery resurrection. We'll see what happens tomorrow.